I can't see you, Ann. Ann?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
There you go. Okay, you're recording now.
Okay. Hi, Matt. How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
My name is Anne, and I was given your name as a referral. And I know you're here to talk to me today because you are having some issues with your OCD disorder, and it's starting to, from what I understand, is starting to cause some problems in your home life and your professional life. Is that correct?
I thought for I thought for the longest time I was actually getting better. And then I started this new job, and I don't know if it was that as being a kind of a trigger or something, but it seemed to amplify my behavior.
Okay. Now I'm just going to
So
take some notes while we're talking, just for me to keep everything straight for when I look at things after. And before we get any further, I just like to let you know that we have a confidentiality agreement here at CMH.
okay,
And
that's good. Okay.
yeah, so whatever you disclose to me stays between us. The only reason it wouldn't is if for any reason you at some point have some self-disclosure that you want to harm yourself, or at some point that you want to harm somebody else, then it's my duty to report if there's
Who,
going to be any harm to yourself. Or
who would you tell?
if it was harm to yourself, I would have to kind of gauge the situation and see, where you're at, whether you need to go to a hospital, something like that. Now,
Okay.
if you're going to harm somebody else, then it's my duty to report to that person what your intentions are and go from there.
Well, I love my wife. She's been very patient with me. I feel awful because she keeps trying to extend herself, and you know, she actually went to the time and the expense to book a kind of a surprise vacation. And originally I was, overjoyed that she would actually do that on our behalf. And, I was really hoping to be able to uh I was really hoping to be able to reconnect with her. But like I said, I don't know if it's my new job. There's some sort of external stressor or something that's just causing my behavior to ramp up, and I just find it's getting worse and worse. I find like I'm actually being late for work fairly regularly because I cannot get over this anxiety that something's wrong at the house, or I didn't turn off the stove, or I left the water running in the sink, like kind of irrational stuff I just generally
Mhm.
don't do. But it is overwhelming for me to try to fight it, and it's causing this huge rift with my wife. I could
Now,
really
now have you had these compulsions and obsessions before? Like when you first married your wife, did you have these issues before?
uh I did, but to much lower or lesser extent. She actually kind of thought it was kind of cute at first because I'd sit there and rearrange everything on the coffee table and remote control and all that. And
Hmm.
um, I just, I've always been like that. I've always kind of just had these minor compulsions to, keep things orderly or whatever. But then it just, you know, it started, it started progressing, and I didn't really seek any help for it. Um, I just thought I would be able to control it myself. And, it became almost where it was, you know, um, it was just starting to consume a considerable part of my day. And it's just putting this horrible strain on my marriage with my wife, and my work is suffering. And again, like I'm afraid of the consequences if I can't turn this around. So
Now,
I
you were
really,
saying that you just started a new job.
I
Now,
did.
So do you think since you started this job, that is when your compulsions have picked up and become more problematic?
I would say probably, I would have to say yes. I guess it probably started, maybe like 3 or 4 days before I actually started my new job. I was, I would have to take public transit to get there, and I was obsessing about the route I had to take, and I would go down and I would make sure the buses were on time every day.
Mhm.
This is even before I started, because I did, I wanted to make sure that they were reliable and stuff. And even the neighbors were starting to wonder, like, what was I doing out there, going back and forth to the bus stop like so many times during the day. And it's become kind of an irrational now. So I do think that has been kind of a mitigating factor in advancing my issue.
How about you
So
tell me what a typical morning looks like for you when you're getting ready to go for work and then leaving for work? How does that look for you?
okay, well, I get up extra early. I'm probably depriving myself of much needed sleep. I get up earlier than I really want to, because I find that I have to make sure that uh, everything in my work attaché and stuff is just so. I have to make sure I haven't remembered anything. I compulsively always think I'm going to forget something. I forgot, I'm going to forget to bring my report from the previous day, my notes from yesterday's meeting. So the first thing I'll do is I'll get up, and I usually actually put my clothes out the night before, which is kind of embarrassing. But I just,
So,
you don't find that weird?
no, I think lots of people do that. Just that's a sign of just being organized for your next day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought as an adult, maybe that's kind of odd. I mean,
No, I don't think so.
well, that's good to hear. My wife thinks it's kind of strange, but it's
But
okay.
yeah, but going back to your wife, before we go on with your morning, you were saying that when you first were married, you had these little compulsions that she was aware of. So she knew this going into the marriage. So um,
Yeah, but
but
it's sorry.
no, go
But
ahead.
yeah, but I suppose what I was doing back there wasn't actually, it wasn't causing me to be late for work, or it wasn't causing any distress to anyone else other than myself. But you know,
Like just minor annoyances, that type of
yeah,
thing.
just like rearranging stuff in the rearranging the glasses in the cupboard to make sure all the right ones are beside each other, and if there's any ones
Mhm.
that are same color, I have to match them together, right? Like stupid stuff. It just
Yeah,
really but to me, on some level, it's important enough that I do it. But now, like when I get up in the morning, I find I started having my biggest hurdle is actually leaving the house. I can get up, I can brush my teeth. I have a tendency to brush the exact same number of times on each side of my mouth every time I do it. So I brush on the left side exactly 150 times. I brush on the right side exactly 150 times, and I can't do any less or any more. It drives me crazy if I don't do that. So, uh, I shower sometimes 2 3 times a day. I'll always shower in the morning, but even when I come home from work, I'll shower another time. I have usually a very quick breakfast, because I don't want to deal with the mess. I don't want to cook stuff and have everything out of order. So I'll just normally make like something quick in the blender or the smoothie or something. And then leaving the house is when I have the biggest problem, because I always feel, even though my wife is home half the days of the week, even when she's there, I just second guess myself and always thinking, did I leave the stove on, or did I um, leave a window open in the back? Did I leave the front door unlocked?
Mm.
All these different things, and I end up having to go back and I recheck it, and then I leave, and then I get halfway to the bus stop, and I have this overpowering anxiety, and I have to go back and I have to check it again. And it's, yeah, I can do it when my wife is there, and that causes her distress. She's like, I'm
Right.
here, I can take care of things, you don't have to worry
Yes.
about it. That's why I'm here.
So what is it then, like, what would be your biggest fear if you didn't do those systems of checks? Like, what's your fear of happening?
Well, I mean, it's rare that a fire will start at your house when you're away, but I mean, that's a legitimate fear for me. I'm fearful of losing my things.
Even if your wife is at home to look after the
Well,
house?
her, I obviously worry about her safety.
Hmm.
Um,
She is a grown woman as well, though. She can take care of herself.
I know, um, I know because it, my inability to deal with it, and it kind of erodes her trust in me to think that I know that she can handle all that herself,
Hmm.
I don't want to, I don't want to make her feel that way. I don't want to make her feel anything less than the capable person she is. And it's,
Well, tell me what was the final issue that brought you brought you here to see me? Was there one defining moment that you're
yes, yes. I, I, I mentioned earlier that my wife very, very thoughtfully booked this lovely vacation getaway unbeknownst to me. And, she picked a spot that I'd mentioned I'd like to go to before. And she really researched it and spent a lot of time at it. And I was, I mean, how could you not be touched by that? Right.
Mhm.
And then as the days started getting closer and closer, I started having a lot of like even uh symptomology that was manifesting physically. I started to have like heart palpitations. I was starting to sweat. I was just having like sweaty palms, and I was starting to feel really, really anxious again about leaving the house. And
Yes, because you'd be leaving it for, a longer period of time than just one day while you're at work.
exactly, and there wouldn't be anybody here, right? She'd be with me, so there wouldn't be anybody to take care of it or look after something if something happened. So
Now, what about a neighbor, or what about, do you have a security system to check on while you're away?
I don't have a security system. That's a really good idea, actually. That would,
Might be
yeah, I
something to
mean,
think about, just to help with your anxiety level somewhat. It wouldn't hurt if it's within your means to do so.
yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought of I because I know a lot of the new ones now, like you can actually potentially even view what's going on through your phone, which I have on me all the time. So
But that's still, that's kind of a Band-Aid. That's not really addressing, you know, your,
mm.
the compulsions that you're demonstrating, by having to check on the house.
Excuse me,
Oh,
sorry, just had to sneeze.
bless you.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
But there are treatments that we can, look at. One very effective treatment for OCD is cognitive therapy, and an even more localized approach or specific approach to OCD is exposure and response prevention. And it's like cognitive therapy, but it's what it does is kind of like teaches you how to look at the, the issue that's causing you anxiety and face it head on and try to rework your way of thinking about it. Now, it's an ongoing kind of homework process that we can work together. You can
Huh.
also work with your wife as well on it. That's something to think about.
Sorry, I'm just gonna have to turn off my phone. Sorry, somebody's calling, but
Anyway, we're finished, I guess. That was a really quick. I'm going to stop this. find myself again. Where am I?